Welcome to the deep dive. We sift through the sources, cut through the noise, and really focus on what matters. Today we're digging into a career that seems almost like a contradiction in terms. Matthew Page Damon.
Yeah, Matt Damon. He's got this, like, everyman vibe, but he's also this global box office powerhouse.
Exactly. And not just an actor, right? He's consistently worked behind the camera, screenwriter, producer, even this ethical entrepreneur kind of figure trying to shape his own path.
It's really the heart of it, isn't it? That tension. He doesn't just run out his fame. He's actually building the systems he works in.
Think about it. He's defined just as much by, say, the massive success of the Bourne movies
Huge.
as he is by setting up production companies that are focused on, fair pay and social issues.
Right. And speaking of success, we should probably put some numbers on that right away.
Yeah.
The sources make it clear his commercial impact is just huge.
Oh, absolutely. Back in 2007, Forbes already had him ranked as one of the most bankable stars out there.
And that wasn't just popularity, remember?
Yeah.
That ranking was about ROI, return on investment.
Yeah, what was the number? It was something like...
It was incredible. The analysis showed he was averaging $29 at the box office for every single dollar he earned. That's based on his last 3 movies at that point.
$29 back for every dollar spent? I mean, if you're a studio exec, that's almost unbelievable.
It proved he wasn't just critically liked. He was a profit engine. And by 2010, yeah, the stats put him up there with the highest grossing actors ever.
But it's not just about the money, is it? He's got the critical respect, too.
Definitely. The awards back it up. He's got the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay.
For Good Will Hunting, yeah.
2 Golden Globes, 1 for writing, 1 for acting later on. And a Screen Actors Guild Award, too. Plus tons of nominations. It shows he's seen as both a performer and a creator.
So our mission today is really to trace that whole arc. From his college days that led to that breakthrough script.
Right.
Through becoming this super reliable blockbuster lead and then evolving into this creative architect role he has now, leading new companies, dealing with activism.
And all the public attention that comes with that.
Yeah.
Let's unpack the whole Damon dossier.
Okay, let's start where it all began. Cambridge, Massachusetts. But maybe the Cambridge you first think of. All right, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Born October 8th, 1970. And his early life, looking at the sources, it really wasn't your standard Hollywood upbringing.
Not at all. His dad, Kent, was a stockbroker. His mom, Nancy Carlson Page, she's actually quite well known in her field, early childhood education professor.
But they divorced when he was really young, right? 2.
Yeah, just 2. He and his older brother, Kyle, who's an artist, a sculptor, they moved back to Cambridge with their mom. And they lived in this 6-family communal house.
A communal house, that's different. Definitely not the Hollywood Hills.
Right. It sounds like it fostered independence, but Damon himself said later that, well, he felt kind of lonely as a teenager.
Really?
He mentioned his mom's approach to child rearing was quite strict, very academic. And maybe that, combined with the communal living, he said it made it hard for him to sort of figure out his own identity, which might be why he gravitated towards acting, expression.
Makes sense. And he got into acting pretty early.
Yeah, he did. He went to Cambridge Alternative School, then Cambridge Ringe and Latin School, and that's where the famous partnership with Ben Affleck really started.
Ringe and Latin, that connection runs deep.
It does. He gives a lot of credit to his drama teacher there, Jerry Spica, called him a major influence.
But didn't he also joke that Spica always gave Affleck the better parts?
He did, with a bit of wry humor, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like that friendly competition, that needing to kind of push each other was there from the start. Probably fueled both of them.
And that educational path led him to Harvard.
Yep, Harvard University, class of 92. Lived in Lowell House. He was an English major, did student theater.
And he was in one of those final clubs too, right? The Delphic Club?
He was. Which, for anyone listening who doesn't know the Harvard scene, these final clubs are these very old, very exclusive sort of social clubs. Pretty elite.
But he didn't actually finish Harvard, did he?
No, and this is a key moment. The pull of acting was too strong. He made this calculated bet that didn't pay off initially.
What happened?
He left Harvard, just 12 credits short of his degree, 12 credits, to take a lead role in a Western called Geronimo, an American legend. This was 1993.
And he thought Geronimo was going to be his big break.
Apparently so. He admitted later it was a mistake, kind of driven by youthful confidence. He expected it to be this massive hit.
And it wasn't.
No, flopped.
Yeah.
So suddenly, he's not graduating Harvard, the movie didn't launch him, and he finds himself back in L.A., broke, crashing in Affleck's apartment, just trying to get any role he could.
Wow, that must have been a tough period.
Crucial, though. Because that financial pressure, that feeling of needing to make something happen, seems to be what really pushed him and Affleck to focus on writing something for themselves.
Which brings us to Good Will Hunting.
The breakthrough. And the origin story is almost mythical now. But it started pretty small.
Wasn't it from a class assignment at Harvard?
Exactly. An
Right.
essay, basically.
Yeah.
He wrote this short, like 15-page play for an English class, and that became the seed for the character Will Hunting.
Just amazing. So they took that seed.
And they worked on it for years, living together, bouncing ideas, pitching it around. Apparently they got some pretty wild notes back from studios early on.
Like what?
Oh, suggestions to add more action. Or maybe someone else should play the leads. You know, typical development hell stuff.
But they stuck with it.
They did. Our sources mentioned they got really important advice from people like Rob Reiner and especially the legendary screenwriter William Goldman.
The William Goldman. Wow. What did he help with?
Apparently Goldman really helped them crack the structure, particularly the ending. And the whole script just felt real because it drew so heavily on their own experiences, their observations of growing up around Cambridge and South Boston.
So when it finally came out in 1997,
Mm-hmm.
the impact was huge.
Seismic is the word. Instantaneous. It wasn't just a hit movie. It was like this cultural moment. Critics loved it, called it witty, vigorous. Damon's performance was praised as charismatic. It just immediately proved they weren't just actors trying to write, they were writers.
And the payoff.
Life-altering. Academy Award Golden Globe for Best Original Screenplay. They each got paid $600,000 for it, which was massive for unknowns back then.
$600,000 each. Wow.
And the film grossed over $225 million worldwide. Damon said going from being broke to that level of fame almost overnight was just nearly indescribable. Imagine that, winning an Oscar in your 20s for something you started in a college class.
It really sets the tone for his whole career, doesn't it? That idea that creative control leads to success.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But even before the Oscar win, he was showing this incredible, almost obsessive dedication to the acting craft itself, especially the physical side.
Right, the transformations, like for Courage Under Fire.
Yeah, that was before Good Will Hunting even came out in 1996. He played an opiate-addicted soldier. And to look the part, he dropped, get this, 40 pounds. That's 18 kilos in just 100 days.
How?
On his own regimen, self-prescribed diet, and intense exercise, which sounds incredibly dangerous, frankly.
But it got him noticed.
Oh, yeah. Critics called his performance impressive, but it apparently took a huge toll on him physically. Then he had to gain most of it back really quickly for The Rainmaker in '97.
And then he lost weight again soon after.
Yep, dropped about 25 pounds, 11 kilos, to play Tom Ripley in The Talented Mr. Ripley in '99. That manipulative anti-hero role.
So this pattern of intense physical commitment was there early on. He clearly saw it as part of building the character.
Exactly. And that kind of dedication really carried over into the next decade, the blockbuster years.
Yeah.
#2, franchise star in the blockbuster decade. So the 2000s arrive, and Damon makes this huge shift. He goes from being the indie darling who wrote his own ticket to being, well, the definition of a reliable, bankable, global movie star. This was really the franchise decade for him.
Yeah, he ended up anchoring two massive trilogies almost simultaneously. First up was the Oceans series, starting in 2001.
Right, Oceans 11, 12, 13. He played Lannis Caldwell, the kind of rookie thief in that big ensemble.
And wasn't that role originally meant for someone else?
It was. Mark Wahlberg, apparently. He
Yeah.
turned it down, so Damon stepped in.
And Oceans 11 was just cool, smooth, and a huge hit.
Colossal. It let Damon flash that sort of everyman charm within this super stylish ensemble cast. Didn't have to carry the whole thing. And yeah, it made a fortune, like $450 million worldwide on an $83 million budget.
But the role that really defined that era for him and cemented him as an action star was Jason Bourne, starting in 2002.
Right, absolutely. Jason Bourne, the amnesiac assassin. It's fascinating, though, because he landed that role when things were actually a bit uncertain for him professionally.
Really? After Oceans.
Well, Oceans was big, but remember, some of his other films around that time, like All the Pretty Horses in 2000, hadn't done well commercially. He actually said he was jobless for about 6 months before The Bourne Identity came along.
Wow. So Bourne wasn't a guaranteed hit in his mind.
Apparently not initially. He even had some doubts about whether it would find an audience. But once he took it, he committed fully.
And how? He didn't just phone it in. The training was legendary.
Totally. He insisted on doing a lot of his own stunts. He went through 3 months of intense training stunt work, weapons, boxing, and that Filipino martial art, eskrima.
You see that same discipline again, right? Like with Courage Under Fire. He
Yeah.
wanted it to feel authentic.
Exactly. And critics really responded to that. Roger Ebert loved the first film, praised its focus on spycraft, and Damon's ability to be so focused and sincere made Bourne feel smart and dangerous, not just a blunt instrument.
And by the time the sequel, The Bourne Supremacy, came out in 2004, the character was iconic.
Totally iconic. He won an Empire Award for Best Actor for that one. The critics noted his astute, underplayed performance, how he avoided typical movie star vanity. Entertainment Weekly called him one of the decade's best mixer of brawn and brains.
That really nails the Damon brand at that point, doesn't it? Smart, grounded action.
Perfectly. But what's interesting is that massive success didn't totally box him in. In 2006, he's also in Martin Scorsese's The Departed.
Which won Best Picture? Playing the undercover state trooper inside the mob.
Right. And that role showcased that other quality we talked about, his ability to kind of blend into a powerhouse ensemble but still be totally essential.
The New York Times had a great line about that, didn't they? Something about his ability to recede into a film while also being fully present.
That's the one. It's key to his appeal. He wasn't trying to outshine DiCaprio or Nicholson. He was the relatable guy, the anchor in the middle of all that chaos. The audience's way in.
So you've got the franchise lead, the reliable ensemble player.
Yeah.
It makes sense that Forbes called him the most bankable star in 2007. Studios knew he delivered.
Huge return on investment. But that level of success, being that bankable, also sets up maybe the most famous what if of his career.
The Avatar decision. The $250 million mistake, as some call it.
It's legendary now. It just perfectly illustrates the kind of insane opportunities and tough choices that come with that level of fame. James Cameron offered him the lead in Avatar.
The lead role, Jake Sully.
Yep. But Damon turned it down.
Why on earth?
Loyalty and contracts. He was committed to the Bourne franchise, filming the Bourne Ultimatum, I believe, and the schedules conflicted. He didn't want to abandon the series that had been so good to him.
Okay, that's professional integrity. But the crazy part was the money Cameron offered, right?
That's the kicker. It wasn't just the role. Cameron offered him 10% of the film's profits. 10%.
Of Avatar.
Yeah.
Which became the highest-grossing film of all time.
Exactly. Do the math on 10% of what? Nearly $3 billion worldwide? It's hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Unbelievable.
Damon himself jokes about it constantly. He's quoted saying, "I will go down in history. You will never meet an actor who turned down more money." It's kind of amazing he can laugh about it.
Well, maybe easier to laugh when you're still Matt Damon, but it shows the scale he was operating on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just to keep things grounded, we should mention, not everything he touched turned to gold in that decade. There were other non-franchise films, dramas like All the Pretty Horses or that fantasy film The Brothers Grimm in 2005.
Right, those didn't really land.
No, they were critical and commercial disappointments.
Yeah.
It kind of reinforces how important those big franchises or prestige ensemble pieces were for maintaining that bankability during that specific era. Okay, so after establishing himself as this massive star, the next major phase in Damon's career is really about taking back control, moving from being the product to being the architect.
Which seems like a direct line back to the struggles he and Affleck had getting Good Will Hunting made, right?
Absolutely. You can see that thread, the desire to control the process, not just the performance. And it started pretty early, formally, with their first production company, Live Planet, back in 2000.
And their big thing was Project Greenlight. I remember that show.
Yeah, the Emmy-nominated documentary series. It was on HBO, then Bravo. And it wasn't just reality TV, it was kind of a mission statement.
How so?
The whole point was to find undiscovered filmmakers, give them funding, document their first real shot at making a feature film, and actually help launch their careers. Damon was an executive producer, really hands-on, trying to guide these first-timers through the studio system.
So nurturing new talent that might otherwise get ignored?
Exactly. It was about changing the system from within, even back then.
And that focus on changing the system continued with their next company, Pearl Street Films, which they started in 2010.
Right. Pearl Street Films, based at Warner Brothers. And they made a really significant move in 2018 regarding industry practices.
The Inclusion Rider.
That's it. In March 2018, they announced Pearl Street would adopt the Inclusion Rider Agreement for all their future productions.
Remind us what that is exactly.
Basically, it's a clause you can put in a contract that requires a certain level of diversity in casting and hiring, not just for actors, but crucially, for the crew behind the camera, too.
So using their power as producers to push for real structural change in who gets hired in Hollywood.
Precisely. A very deliberate, proactive step.
And now their newest venture, Artists' Equity, founded with Affleck in 2022, seems like the culmination of all this.
It really does. Artist equity feels like the most direct attack on the old financial model. The core idea is giving creators, the people actually making the film, a bigger, fairer piece of the pie.
How does that work?
They use a more data-driven approach to figure out distribution and value, but the key thing is offering profit participation, not just to the big names, the stars, the director, what they call above-the-line talent,
Right.
but also to the below-the-line talent, the crew, the camera operators, the editors, the costume designers, the people whose work is essential, but who almost never share in the film's financial success under the traditional model.
That sounds revolutionary, honestly, giving crew points on the back end.
It's a huge shift. It feels like the Goodwill Hunting ethos talent should be rewarded, applied across the entire production process.
And their first film under that banner was Air, about Nike signing Michael Jordan.
Yep, Air came out in 2023. Affleck directed, Damon starred. It did really well commercially, got great reviews, and Damon even picked up another Golden Globe nomination for it. So, proof of concept, maybe.
While he's building these companies, he's still acting, obviously, and taking on some really interesting roles.
Oh yeah, his acting choices remain strong, like in Soderbergh's dark comedy The Informant back in 2009.
He gained weight for that one, didn't he?
He did. Played Mark Whitaker, got a Golden Globe nomination, and critics started talking about how he was quietly becoming this great everyman actor. Not just a star, but a character actor, too.
And then Invictus, also in 2009, his first Oscar nomination for acting.
Right. Best Supporting Actor for playing Francois Pienaar, the South African rugby captain opposite Morgan Freeman's Nelson Mandela.
And again, the reviews highlighted that grounded quality, low-key charm and integrity, one said. Even playing these larger-than-life figures, he keeps them relatable.
That reliability is his superpower. Which leads us to The Martian in 2015.
Stranded on Mars. That felt like peak Damon in a way. Smart, resourceful, funny, carrying a huge movie, mostly by himself.
Absolutely. Directed by Ridley Scott, it was a massive success, winning the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Comedy Musical, which was a bit odd category-wise.
Yeah, a comedy about potentially dying alone in space.
Right. But it got him his second Oscar nomination for Best Actor. And it proved he could anchor a giant blockbuster outside of the Bourne world.
He also went back to co-writing Promised Land in 2012 and The Last Duel in 2021.
Yeah, back to his roots with Affleck on The Last Duel. Now that film really highlights the tension we've been talking about. Well, The Last Duel, medieval France, complex themes. It got good reviews, generally. But financially, it bombed.
Really? With Damon, Adam Driver, J.D. Comer, Ridley Scott directing?
Exactly. If that lineup can't make an original, challenging period drama work at the box office, what does that say about the market for those kinds of films now? It raises big questions.
It shows his commitment, though, right? He's still willing to take those creative risks, even if they don't have the guaranteed payoff of another franchise entry.
Precisely. The creative control, the quality of the project seems to trump the guaranteed commercial hit sometimes.
And we have to mention his collaborations with Christopher Nolan.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
He had that small but memorable role in Interstellar back in 2014. Dr. Mann. Not the nicest guy.
No, definitely not. And then more recently, playing Leslie Groves in Oppenheimer.
Right, the military head of the Manhattan Project. And Oppenheimer, interestingly, became Damon's highest-grossing film ever. Bigger than Bourne, bigger than Oceans.
Wow, that's saying something. And they're working together again.
Supposedly, yes. He's set to play Odysseus in Nolan's upcoming adaptation of The Odyssey. That should be fascinating.
And just quickly, he's done some great TV work, too, showing that versatility.
Yeah, Emmy-nominated guest spots. He was hilarious as Liz Lemon's pilot boyfriend on 30 Rock.
Oh, yeah, Carol Burnett.
And his portrayal of Scott Thorson, Liberace's lover in HBO's Behind the Candelabra, was incredible. Earned him an Emmy nomination for that, too. It just shows he'll go wherever the good writing is, regardless of the platform. Hashtags, tag, freebie. Activism, advocacy, and public scrutiny.
Okay, so beyond the acting and producing, Damon has put a significant amount of his energy and fame into activism, particularly around a couple of key global issues.
Yeah, his work on global water access is really substantial. It goes back quite a way. He founded the H2O Africa Foundation, and then in 2009, that merged with another organization, Water Partners, to become water.org.
And their approach isn't just charity, right? It's more systemic.
Exactly. It's not just about digging wells, though that's part of it. The core mission is using microfinance to help people in developing countries get access to safe, clean, affordable drinking water, and sanitation.
Microfinance for water, how does that work?
They pioneered this model called water credit. Essentially, they help provide small loans, microloans to families so they can afford to install taps or toilets in their homes, things that provide a lasting solution. The idea is to make it sustainable.
And has it been successful?
Seems to be scaling up. Our sources mention Water.org got a big, $8 million grant from the PepsiCo Foundation specifically to expand that water credit program in India. So the model seems to be working.
And Damon uses his celebrity to promote this heavily.
Oh, yeah. He's front and center. He's done partnerships with big brands, Aquafina, Ethos Water, Stella Artois Beer. Remember that Super Bowl commercial he did for Stella Artois and Water.org in 2018?
Vaguely, yeah, using that massive platform.
Exactly. Leveraging his fame directly for philanthropic funding. He's also involved in other things he co-founded, Not on Our Watch with George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Don Cheadle.
What does that one focus on?
Preventing mass atrocities, bringing global attention and resources to crises, like the one in Darfur, for example. Plus, he's a spokesperson for Feeding America, the hunger relief organization, and an ambassador for One Zone, which helps kids globally.
So a serious long-term commitment to these causes.
Definitely. But like many public figures who engage in advocacy, his efforts haven't been without controversy or intense public scrutiny. It highlights that tension between using your platform and navigating tricky public perception.
Right. Let's talk about the Crypto.com ad. That got a lot of attention, mostly negative.
It really did. This was late 2021. Damon announced a partnership with Crypto.com, this cryptocurrency trading platform. Part of the deal involved a $1 million donation from them to Water.org.
Okay, so a direct benefit to his charity. And didn't he say his fee went to Water.org too?
Yeah, he was clear that 100% of his fee for doing the commercials went straight to the foundation.
But the ad itself, Fortune Favors the Brave, it didn't land well.
Not at all. It came out in early 2022. The ad basically compared investing in cryptocurrency to these grand historical acts of bravery, explorers, astronauts, etc.
Which sounds a bit much.
That was the reaction. The backlash online was huge. People called it insulting, cringy, disgusting. The criticism was that here's this incredibly wealthy celebrity encouraging average people to gamble on this highly volatile, largely unregulated market. Some even compared it to promoting a Ponzi scheme.
So the charitable angle got completely overshadowed by the criticism of the core message.
Pretty much. It became a case study in the potential pitfalls of celebrity endorsements, especially in new risk financial areas. That tension between raising money for a good cause and potentially harming your audience's financial well-being, it's a tough line.
There was also scrutiny around comments he made during the height of the Me Too movement.
Yes. In late 2017, there were two main incidents. First, related to Harvey Weinstein. An old story resurfaced suggesting Damon had tried to kill a negative article about Weinstein back in 2004.
What was his response?
He strongly denied it. He clarified that he did call the reporter back then, but only to vouch for the professional reputation of an executive who ran Miramax's Italy office, who he felt was being unfairly characterized. He wasn't calling about Weinstein himself, and the reporter involved later confirmed Damon's account of that specific call.
Okay, so that was clarified, but there was another comment that caused more widespread backlash.
Right. Around the same time, December 2017, he gave an interview where he talked about sexual misconduct needing to be viewed on a spectrum of behavior.
Meaning what, exactly?
His point seemed to be that there's a difference between, say, telling an inappropriate joke or patting someone on the back and acts like rape or child molestation, and that the response should perhaps be different depending on the severity.
And that didn't go over well.
Not at all. It sparked immediate criticism. People felt it was incredibly tone-deaf, that it minimized the harm caused by all forms of misconduct, and that creating a spectrum could be used to excuse or downplay abuse. It was seen as missing the larger point about power dynamics and systemic issues.
How did he react to the backlash?
He addressed it publicly a month or so later, in January 2018. He essentially apologized, acknowledged he hadn't understood the perspective of people who felt marginalized, and said he realized he should probably get in the back seat and close my mouth for a while.
So, a public learning moment, it sounds like.
It seemed that way. A recognition that his perspective as a powerful man in the industry perhaps wasn't the most helpful one at that moment.
And there was one more recent controversy about language.
Yes, in 2021. He mentioned in an interview that he had recently stopped using the homophobic slur fag after his daughter called him out on it. He claimed it was a word commonly used when he was younger, supposedly with a different application, not necessarily as a slur against gay people. He said his daughter wrote him this very long, beautiful treatise explaining why the word is dangerous and hurtful, regardless of intent. He was careful to say he'd never use the more extreme version, faggot.
So, again, learning from a different perspective, in this case, his daughter's.
Exactly. It highlighted a generational shift in understanding the impact of language. He publicly credited her for educating him.
Shifting to more standard politics, the sources say he's a Democrat supporter.
Generally, yes. Longtime supporter of the Democratic Party. He hosted a fundraiser for Elizabeth Warren back in 2012. He's also been very outspoken about wanting stricter gun control laws, saying things like, "I actually hate guns. They freak me out."
And it hasn't always towed the party line.
No. He actually expressed some public disappointment with President Obama's policies while Obama was in office. Felt maybe there wasn't enough substantive change happening. So he's willing to criticize, even within his own party affiliation. #tag V, personal life and cultural footprint.
All right, let's shift gears a bit from the heavy stuff, the production deals, the controversies, and look at the personal side and maybe the lighter aspects of his public image.
Sure. Behind all the career moves, there seems to be a pretty stable personal foundation. He married Luciana Bazan-Barroso back in 2005.
How did they meet? Wasn't it kind of random?
Yeah, pretty famously random. He met her in Miami in 2003 while he was filming the Farrelly Brothers movie Stuck on You. She was working as a bartender, apparently.
That's a great story. And they have kids.
They have 3 daughters together.
Hmm.
And Luciana had a daughter from a previous relationship who Damon considers his own. People often point to that stable family life as maybe enabling him to take some of those bigger professional risks.
Where do they live? He seems like a bi-coastal guy.
He's definitely lived in different places. Miami for a while, New York City, Los Angeles, Pacific Palisades area. But then in 2018, he bought this massive, record-breaking penthouse apartment in Brooklyn Heights, New York.
Brooklyn Heights. For how much?
I think it was around $16.5 million.
Uh-huh.
Set a record for Brooklyn real estate at the time.
Yeah.
So strong ties to New York as well as L.A.
And being a Boston guy, you have to mention the sports connection.
Oh, absolutely. Diehard Boston Red Sox fan. Through thick and thin. He even narrated the official World Series DVD when they won back in 2007.
Nice. And didn't he play poker too? Like, seriously, echoes of Rounders?
He did. His character, Mike McDermott, in Rounders wasn't totally fictional in that sense. He actually competed in the World Series of Poker a few times back in the day.
Did he do okay?
Well, he famously got knocked out of the 1998 WSOP main event by the legendary Doyle Brunson. So maybe stick to acting for the big money.
Okay. But maybe the most fun, enduring part of his public persona is the whole thing with Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, the feud. It's brilliant. Just this long-running gag that's been going on for, what, almost 20 years now?
It started super simple, right? Kimmel just saying he ran out of time for Matt Damon at the end of the show.
Exactly. Back in 2006 on Jimmy Kimmel Live. Just a throwaway joke that Kimmel apparently did on a whim because the show was running long one night.
And it just escalated beautifully from there.
Into this elaborate, ongoing performance art piece. Remember Sarah Silverman's video, "I'm fucking Matt Damon"? She was dating Kimmel at the time.
Oh my God, yes. That was hilarious. And Damon was in it.
He was. And then Kimmel's perfect response video, "I'm fucking Ben Affleck," with Affleck and like half of Hollywood making cameos.
It brought it right back to the original Affleck partnership. Genius.
And then there was the time Damon actually took over Kimmel's show in 2013, tied him up, and finally demanded his interview slot.
The commitment to the bit is incredible from both of them.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the fact that Damon, this huge movie star, is so willing to participate in that kind of self-mockery, it just reinforces that accessible, everyman quality people love about him. It makes him seem grounded, even when he's playing, a super spy or an astronaut.
Definitely adds to his likability. And he's received official honors, too, beyond the film awards.
Yeah, he got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2007. And maybe more significantly, given his origins, he received the Harvard Arts Medal in 2013.
Bringing it full circle back to Cambridge and Harvard.
Exactly. Acknowledging that journey from dropout to, global figure and influential producer. #tag outro.
So when we try to pull all these threads together, what's the big picture on Matt Damon? What does the dossier tell us?
Well, I think you see this fascinating figure who operates on 2 levels simultaneously. On one hand, he's got that incredible commercial reliability. The guy who delivers, that $29 return for every dollar the studio spends. The Bourne guy, the Oceans guy.
The bankable star.
Right. But at the same time, he seems fundamentally driven to resist just being that commodity. He's constantly pushing for more creative control, taking risks, investing personally in changing the system.
It's a real balancing act. You've got the large-scale, serious philanthropy with Water.org, focusing on these innovative microfinance solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Sustainable change.
And then you have these moments where his public statements, whether it's about crypto or social issues, draw intense criticism and require, some public recalibration.
Yeah, the high-profile advocacy comes with high-profile scrutiny. It's part of the territory when you operate at that level.
But underlying it all seems to be this consistent theme, the fight for control. It started with him and Affleck writing Goodwill Hunting because the system wasn't giving them the roles they wanted.
Right, bypassing the gatekeepers.
And now, decades later, his newest company, Artists Equity, is explicitly designed to give more power and financial reward back to the creators, even the below-the-line crew.
It really brings it full circle. Which leads to, I think, the final provocation for you, the listener, to think about.
What's that?
When we look back on Matt Damon's entire career, decades from now, what will ultimately define his legacy? Which side of the camera wins out?
Is it the actor? The massive, reliable, Oscar-nominated star of films like The Martian, Oppenheimer, the Bourne series. That guy.
Or is it the producer and writer?
Mm-hmm.
The guy who started with Goodwill Hunting, who launched Project Greenlight, who's now trying to fundamentally reshape how Hollywood compensates talent with Artists Equity.
The actor versus the architect.
Exactly. Where does the balance tip? It's a career built on this idea that real success isn't just starring in the story. It's maybe about owning the script itself.
A lot to think about there. We have been deep inside the Damon dossier. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.